Today's feast, the solemnity of the dedication, consecration of the Church of St. John Lateran, is somewhat unique in our liturgical calendar. Most of the time, the feasts are in remembrance of an event in our Lord's life, his birth, his death, his resurrection, or that of his blessed mother, her assumption into heaven, or of a saint, St. Paul, St. Teresa. But today we celebrate the remembrance of a consecration of a building, but just not any building. The major basilica of St. John Lateran was consecrated on this date in 324. That's a long time ago. And it was built under the patronage of the Emperor of Rome, Constantine. Now, for those of you that are history buffs, you know that it was Constantine who legalized Christianity. So the same emperor that stopped the Christian persecution also built the Church of St. John Lateran to be the cathedral church of the Bishop of Rome, currently Pope Leo XIV. It is considered for this reason to be the mother church of all of Christendom. And it is the largest of the churches in Rome after St. Basilica itself. Its dimensions are 460 feet in length, 240 feet in width, and 459 feet tall. It is a huge building. And it is seen, therefore, because of its importance to the Holy Father, as the central location of what it means to be a church. We often associate St. Peter's Basilica with the papacy, but in truth, for over 1,000 years, the Pope lived at St. John Lateran. It is indeed not the only time today that we celebrate the feast of a dedication or consecration of a church. Each year on June the 5th, we remember and celebrate the consecration of this church building, the Basilica of St. Mary of the Assumption, which was consecrated in 1864. A church is a symbol of the people of God. It is a place where they gather to hear the word of God, to celebrate the sacraments, to pray, and to find peace and solitude, as well as communal worship. For that reason, the church is an important symbol of what it means to be a Christian. For just as the foundation is necessary for a building, so is Christ necessary for a Christian life. And just as each Christian does not live their faith in isolation, but as each stone is put together to build up a building, so each Christian is interconnected with one another, resting on the foundation of Jesus Christ. This is a great segue into the other focus that we have this weekend of Stewardship Sunday. Each year in November, we recall the goodness that God has done for us and our responsibility of supporting our parish. This year, I have asked Jamie and Kristin Garrabrant to speak to us on why they share their gifts, their talents, and their treasure. Jamie and Kristin.
Good morning, everyone. We want to thank Monsignor for asking us to address everyone here today. It's our honor. My name is Jamie Garrabrant, and this is my wife, Kristin. We have been parishioners for most of our lives, here at St. Mary's, and we are both alumni of St. Mary's School and Fisher Catholic High School. Our 2 young adult children are also alumni, and our youngest son is currently a senior at Fisher Catholic High School. All our children have participated in the life of the parish as altar servers. I currently serve as an usher in our parish and as a track coach at Fisher Catholic High School. For employment, I am Chief Operations Officer at TrueCore Federal Credit Union in Newark, while Kristin serves as the Community Outreach Coordinator for Pregnancy Decision Health Centers, PDHC. During Respect Life Month, she coordinates the baby bottle campaign in our parish. Our story is likely quite different from others you have heard in the past. For Kristin and me, nothing is more important than God and our family. Recognizing this has come at a price. Having both left our Catholic faith for a period of time in our 20s and then living through divorces imposed upon us in our 40s, our lean on God has been heavy. Together, we have learned to navigate the many challenges that come with blending a family and with learning to trust again. Undoubtedly, God's love, mercy, and provisions have sustained us. Acknowledging God as the ultimate provider for our treasure, we tithe because we know that everything we have, our family, our second chance at marriage, jobs, house, are a gift from God. Prior to marrying over 10 years ago, we decided to make the sacrifices needed to give up a portion of our income to tithe, as well as to maintain our children in Catholic schools. For us, making sacrifices looks like driving older cars, foregoing vacations, and refraining from travel sports. This hasn't always been easy, but always necessary. In both our childhoods, we did not receive any formation from our parents for the practice of tithing. However, we both witnessed our parents, especially Kristin's single mother, make sacrifices like those we make today. We fondly recall as children the weekly practice of placing the tithing envelope in the offertory collection. Of course, our parish has essential needs, such as maintaining the buildings, but even more importantly, funding our youth and adult education programs, outreach projects, charitable initiatives for our local community. For us, tithing isn't just about money. It's about expressing gratitude to God for all of our blessings and about making a choice to sacrifice for the greater good. Kristin will now speak about sharing our talents and time with our parish.
I serve as a Eucharistic minister and co-facilitator for our parish's Surviving Divorce program. I am also the facilitator of one of our new ministries, Marigold Ministries. This ministry provides baby showers and support to pregnant moms who are in need in our community. On Father's Day of 2024, I brought communion to my 90-year-old father for the last time. After giving him communion, I asked him if he wanted anything to eat for breakfast. He then turned to me and said, "What else do I need?" The Eucharist was the last thing he consumed until his death 3 days later. This final sacred lesson from my father is a treasured memory that will forever remain in my heart. In my service as co-facilitator for our parish's Surviving Divorce program, it has been a privilege to walk alongside men and women through the pain and suffering of divorce. And although there are challenges in this ministry, my witness of their return to the sacraments and their forgiveness of others far outweighs the discomfort it takes to get there. I share these stories because when you have the courage to step boldly into the life of our parish family, God will bless, convict, delight, stretch, and equip you. In addition to all the blessings poured out to me, I am learning God allows the difficulties and pain to leave room for my personal growth and to increase my dependence on Him. From the 12th chapter of Luke, we are reminded this: From everyone who has been given much, much more will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. This Bible verse is referring to more than wealth. It is referring to our gifts and talents. God has called us to be on mission, to serve others, and to bring glory to Him. He achieves this by commanding us to use the gifts He has handpicked for each one of us. What gifts has He bestowed on you? Where is He calling you to be on mission? Teaching, writing, encouraging, baking, building, singing, reading, praying, serving, evangelizing, painting, counseling, organizing. God not only calls us on mission through our gifts and strengths, but can also fulfill His will through our hardships, as through divorce in my case. Choose one thing. Watch your heart and our parish family transform, because to live with faith is to live with purpose. To live in such a time as this, who would have believed we would live to see a pope from the United States? A new pope for the 16 million new Catholics worldwide in just this year alone. In the United States, for the first time in 20 years, more people are entering the Catholic Church than leaving it. In the United States, data is showing a rise in Catholicism among our Gen Z population, particularly in young men. Many of these young adults are feeling a void in our secular world and are seeking and finding purpose, tradition, identity, community, and most especially truth in our Catholic faith. The tide is beginning to turn. As Catholics, we have been given much, and now more than ever, we are being entrusted to use our time, talents, and treasure to build up our church. We thank you for your time, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Jamie and Kristin. Appreciate it. I want to use an image of our parish. I want you to think of our parish as a train with an engine and many cars. Each one of those cars is a particular ministry or activity. One is the school, one is the PSR program, one is the food pantry, one is the Bridges ministry, on and on and on it goes until you reach the caboose. The offertory funds that we receive through your generosity, which you put in to the collection each week, keeps the train running. It pays for the crew, for the fuel, for all the things that are needed to make sure that that train runs that day and keeps moving. As you can tell from the bulletin, our collection has been lagging behind our budget. Right now, we are about $75,500 behind. Now, we will make up some of that, hopefully all of that, as we enter into the holiday seasons. Many of you are very, very generous during the holidays. Some of you will give your entire year's pledge in one payment. This also occurs immediately after the first of the year. So I'm not terribly worried about it, but somewhat worried about it. Now, the funds that we receive from the rebate from the appeal, and many of you were very generous when I asked again for a second year to double the amount you've been given and be able to avoid the diocesan tax to accomplish some of the capital improvements we've been doing on the property. That appeal rebate, along with grants from the St. Mary Foundation and bequests, are what we use for capital improvements to improve the infrastructure. In other words, to make repairs to the train tracks, to build and refurbish train stations, and to fix the engine when it breaks down. This week, you will receive a letter from me with a pledge card. I ask that you read my letter carefully, and then, after time of reflection and prayer, in a very intentional way, make your decision as to how much of your income you will pledge in a tithe to our parish this year, knowing that that is what will keep the train running. Then fill out this pledge card, and you can return it next week in the collection basket, mail it in to the parish office, or drop it off at the parish office. Also, give serious consideration to becoming more involved in one of those many ministries. Get on one of those cars of the train. Start volunteering at the food pantry. Become involved with the Bridges ministry. Teach in PSR. We have many, many great ministries here, and they are part of our call to respond to Christ's command to go into the whole world and to proclaim the good news. Kristin was so good at articulating the change that has occurring. I wanted you to hear that. I'll re-emphasize what she said. For the first time in 20 years, more people are joining the Catholic Church than leaving it. They're finding something attractive in you that make them want to become like you. And so how can we capitalize on that? Because ultimately, it's not you or me. What is attracting them is our ability to allow Christ to shine through us. It's not our personality, but it's us using the gifts that we have been given to be Christ to others. And that's what we strive to do. So give consideration in becoming involved or more involved in the many ministries of the church. If you do not receive this letter this week, if by next Sunday you've not received a letter, please call the parish office. This is probably an indication that we either have a bad address for you or you're not registered in the parish. Either way, we want good information, and we want to be able to contact you, especially in times of difficulty, and for us to confirm that indeed you are a parishioner. We want good census information. That helps tremendously. It also helps tremendously that we know how to form the budget. If we don't know how much money we're receiving, we don't know how we're going to be able to allocate it to all of these ministries and all of the things that need to be done. So that's why we ask for a pledge. I want to thank you all for your support of me, for your prayers for me. I appreciate it greatly, and I appreciate your generosity and support of the parish.